Prentice, and I went to Fisk University to study computer science. And while I went to school, I rented an office down the street from school to ride around various businesses that I was trying to start. I ran an Amazon store. I did marketing and web design. At one point in time, my sister adopted 4 kids, 4 of our cousins who were orphaned, and they lived with us. And they had friends and went to school, and they did various things like things that kids do. And I noticed they had a lot of idle time, and they were fascinated by the things that I did at school. Being from Memphis, they didn't really know anyone who ever went to college. I was the first generation in my family that went to college. So they were always inquiring about the things that I was doing, and they liked to see me programming and the websites that I made, and they were always interested. So I said I thought about App Inventor and how I could teach them how to make Android apps. So I asked them would they be interested. Of course they were interested. So I set up 4 workstations, 4 computers in the office, and I got them to get each a friend of theirs from the neighborhood, and I started picking them up twice a week. For an hour a week, I taught them how to make apps for Android phones. And the impact that it had on them was like nothing else I'd ever seen. Anytime I saw these kids in the neighborhood, they used to flag my car down. They used to always, Mr. P, when are we going to do App Inventor again? And I couldn't keep them off of it. During their free time at home, they were learning, they were doing apps. They were trying to show me new things that they were doing. We started with the mold mash tutorial, like at Chuck E. Cheese or different little kid arcades. The mold pop up, you hit the mold with the hammer. So we made mold mash games. That was our first project. Where they had to hit the mold on the screen, and they had to count how many times they hit the mold. The youngest out of all the kids was 8. So he successfully made the app first, and after he finished his app, he demonstrated to me how it counted every time he hit the mold, but he wanted to go an extra step and count how many times you missed the mold. So himself, he learned problem solving from that. He learned engineering. He got exposed to engineering and problem solving at an elementary level. And our kids aren't exposed to things that kids in other countries are. Other countries, kids get to be exposed to calculus and engineering, and problem solving and advanced math, things like that in elementary and middle school. Where our kids don't get to see that kind of things until they go to continuing education, until they finish high school, until they try to go to college. It's not in our school system. Teachers aren't allowed to think outside of the box. They have a core curriculum that they have to stick to, and they're not allowed to come up with creative ways to challenge kids who are not challenged by their core curriculum. So therefore, kids who aren't challenged, who aren't interested, they finish their work real fast. They learn what they're supposed to learn, and then they got free time. They're bored. They get involved in other not so constructive things, because that challenges their mind. They find themselves doing things that's not so constructive, So what I want to do is I want to create a program. I called it the Legacy Corporation. I want to make it a non-profit. I want to make it available for families who can't afford to get their kids into programs, and advanced learning programs, basically. So what I want to do is I want to create the Legacy program where we employ teachers, because you don't have to be a certified teacher to teach App Inventor. App Inventor by MIT, originally by Google, it's really easy to teach, it's really easy to learn, it's really hands-on. You could teach a kid how to make an app with App Inventor. And that kid learns how to make an app. He can make an app and sell it in the App Store. He can make a really great app. And what kind of impact would it have on a 10-year-old boy who makes an app and millions of people download his app? He gets feedback from people, and people encourage him to make his app better, and he attacks bugs and problems and learns even more problem solving, and is able to make his app even better. That could completely change the course of his life, whereas he could have ended up being in prison somewhere because he ended up dropping out of school because school didn't challenge him. And now, because of App Inventor, because of the app that he made, he goes on to do something great. He's able to help his family. At age 10, he has an income because of App Inventor. So what I want to do, like I said, I want to take the Legacy Corporation and I want to make it into a course where kids, as young as 8 and 9, can be making apps, learning how to make apps, and take Scratch and learn how to make simple computer games, and maybe one day further on in the program be exposed to Xcode and make apps for iOS devices. And the reason I call it the Legacy, because kids who do really well in the course, I want them to be deemed legacies, so that the next course after them, they come back to be mini instructors or helpers. Give them a sense of accomplishment, a sense of authority, and give the other kids an incentive to do really good so that they can become legacies. So the legacy kids would advance to the next course and come back and help in the new course. And also I would like to make this program gain some of its funding from salvaging electronics, salvaging precious metals from electronics. So therefore it also provide kids with maybe a summer job. So we could solicit donations of electronics. We could use the campaign that we're not asking for money. Because not many people have money to donate, but people want to help. People want to make a difference. So you could take an old printer or old cell phone that you have that's just laying around and donate it to the Legacy Corporation. Therefore, giving a kid an opportunity to learn, to learn how to salvage precious metals from that electronic device, to use the precious metals to gain some more funding for this program, to expand the program, to put it in another state, open up a new course, open up a new location where a whole new neighborhood of kids can learn how to make apps. So if we can teach these kids how to make apps, the possibilities are endless. The things that they could learn, the opportunities that they could have just from learning how to make apps through App Inventor. Apps, everybody's got their iOS or their Android device or their Windows phone device in their hand all the time. You're always looking at your phone. What if we could teach our future, our kids, how to make apps? Look what they learn on TV. Look what they learn on the internet. They're learning all kind of stuff anyway. But what if we could tunnel them? What if we could challenge them? Easily. With just donating $10 or just donating your old cell phone. What if you could teach a kid how to make an app? So that's why I want to make the Legacy Corporation. I want to make it into a nonprofit, and I want to create an after-school program, a summer program, or maybe an alternative to juvenile court or juvenile detention. Maybe if a kid gets into trouble, maybe a judge can send them to the Legacy Corporation as opposed to sending them to some juvenile detention center where he can learn how to make an app. Where we can channel our future, channel our kids to doing things constructive that they'll love to do, that they'll be really interested in and they'll be challenged in. So I'm asking you to help me fund this campaign. Help me turn this idea, the Legacy Corporation, into a reality. I want to take these kids to the next level, and I want to give them a reason to try to do their best and become their best. Who's to say that the next Mark Zuckerberg might not come from App Inventor? So this is just the beginning. This is just an idea. This is something that I did with funds out of my own pocket. I did it for a few weeks. I didn't have much money, but I picked up these kids twice a week for maybe a couple months, and I taught them how to make apps in my office with very little money. Like I said, I was a college student at the time, and I gave them snacks and things, and I hear from these kids every time I see these kids. I hear them. They want to know about when we're gonna do the Legacy again. When we're gonna do the Legacy again, and presently I don't have the funding just to continue to do this one course, but this is something I want to see done nationwide. Outside of school, maybe even in school, but I want to see this grow. I want to make this into a nonprofit. If you're willing to donate, or if you're willing to help me make this a reality, contact me. And like I said, my name is Prentice. This is my idea, and I really want to see it happen. I want to see these kids. I want to see. I love computers. I love computer science. When I was a kid, my mom couldn't afford a computer. I'm 26. I'm 27 now. I'm sorry about that. I'm 27. When I was a kid, my mom couldn't afford a computer, but I used to collect AOL CDs, and I used to take them everywhere. I had a case of AOL CDs. All I knew was when I get a computer, I'm going to learn what these CDs are and what I can do with them. And when I got a computer, I was like 9, and I was taking it apart. I asked for an 80 gigabyte hard drive for a computer for my 9th birthday, and that was a really big thing at the time. 80 gigabytes was a lot, nobody never heard of a terabyte. But I got that. I was taking computers apart at 9 and 10, and me and my friends, we would take each other's towers over each other's houses. We take them apart, we learn about them, and that's what I love to do. And I think kids these days will love it too. I think kids would love to learn how to make apps. If little Johnny, let me say little Johnny, if he was 10 years old and he went somewhere and he saw somebody playing his game that he made, what kind of inspiration, what kind of effect would that have on him? What other kind of programs do we have that could have that kind of effect on kids? In our neighborhoods, in the not so upper class neighborhoods, in the middle class neighborhoods. I mean, what kind of opportunities do our kids have to break the cycle? I mean, what kind of opportunities are we? I mean, the people with not so much. What kind of opportunities do we have to give back? What kind of opportunities do we have to make a difference in these kids' life? That's what I want to do. I want to create an opportunity for us to make a difference in these kids' lives. Because if I can open up this course in App Inventor, it can open up all kind of jobs. I mean, you don't have to go to school to be a teacher in the Legacy Corporation. The curriculum that we have, the curriculum that's already out there on the App Inventor website at MIT.edu is, I mean, it's really simple. They have a course in a box, and it's free. And I mean, you, without the Legacy Corporation, could get a kid and teach him how to make app. You know, I mean, you could curb his attention. I mean, if you had a kid right now who had ADHD and who really couldn't stay focused on things, who was really smart and wasn't challenged by school, you could teach him how to make an app. I mean, you could sit him down right now, go to MIT's website, Google App Inventor, use the course in the box, and teach him how to make an app. I mean, once you take him through the tutorials that are out there, he'll have everything, all the skills that he needs to make his own apps. And I mean, he can submit his apps to the Play Store. And who to say that he couldn't take his creativity and make the next Flappy Bird or the next Angry Bird game? You know, I mean, so this is the Legacy Corporation. This is what I want to do, and I'm asking you to help me make this a reality. I appreciate your time. Once again, my name is Prentice. You can contact me at prentice.pleas @gmail.com. That's PRENTICE.PLEAS @gmail.com. Thanks for your time.